Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Lana Blakely podcast. How has your week been? I've had a good week, and I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why. So, one reason is that I finally got my computer. Okay, if you've been listening to this podcast, if you have been following me on Instagram, you know that my old computer is just kind of worthless at this point, and I have not been able to edit videos, and that's one of the reasons I have not been uploading on YouTube for a month, although I uploaded 2 days ago. Well, it's going to be 2 days ago when you listen to this. Yesterday for me. I am, however, recording this on my old computer because my new one does not have a USB port, which the old one does, and my mic does not have a cord that is not USB, so I have to record this on my old computer, whatever. But yeah, so that means that I've been able to edit videos and be creative and have fun again, and it's really, really fueled me, and it has, like, realizing how just better I felt and how my mood just like got so much better once I was able to just sit down and edit a video reinforced to me even more how much I need creativity and I need a creative outlet, and it makes me happy. And being deprived of that for like a long time really was not good for me. So I'm happy to be back with the editing and having fun with making videos again, and I'm so excited to make all my ideas and visions come to life. And yeah, I just feel like I'm in a very good headspace, like a very good creative place in life right now where I feel very motivated and it's good. Also, I have been eating better, which I made a video about. That's what the video is about, which I feel like that has to do something to do with it because I don't know, I feel more energized now that I've been eating better for like almost, what is it now, like 2 weeks or something like that. Being more intentional with what I put in my body, and it feels good. And I feel not just like physically better, but mentally better, knowing that I'm making an effort to take care of myself. Who does not want that? Who does not feel good when they take care of themselves? So what's the topic for this week? Well, this week I did something different. I actually prepared some notes for the first time ever, because whenever I sit down to record a podcast episode normally, I just sit down and I think of something on the spot to talk about. And it works out, I go down a rabbit hole in a topic and voila, there's an episode, and you guys seem to like it and I'm having a fun time recording it. However, I wanted to try having an episode that has more of a direction and has some credibility instead of just me, sitting down and talking. So here we are. And this is a topic that I've been thinking about for some reason a lot lately. Do I always say that? I'm like, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Well, I do think a lot, too much sometimes. Well, like I said, I'm thinking about this quite a lot, and it's a topic of luck. I think the reason I started thinking about this was because, since I got my puppy, Fred, he's laying right there. Did you notice how like whenever we talk about pets or babies, our voice automatically turns into like a sweet baby voice, and it can be pretty annoying sometimes. Like when I catch myself sometimes speaking like a baby to my dog, I find myself to be annoying. Sometimes. Other times I'm like, I think it's fine. I think it's cute. Anyway, getting off track. Yeah, I started talking about this because ever since I got my puppy, I have been following a lot of like dog Instagram accounts and stuff like that on social media. And I realized that whenever people put out like training videos or videos that show how good their dogs are when they're doing tricks and commands and they're being obedient to their owners, there's always people commenting, saying things like, oh my God, you're so lucky your dog is so obedient, or you're so lucky your dog does this and that. And it kind of rubs me the wrong way. So now that I have a dog, I know how much dedication and time and sweat and tears it takes to train your dog. By the way, this is not going to be about dogs. This is just like to get you on board on how I started thinking about this, and then we will talk about the actual what I want to get to. But this is how it started. So it rubs me the wrong way when people say, oh, you're so lucky your dog is so obedient. Because, like I said, now that I have one myself and I know how difficult it is and how much it takes to make your dog be that way, and someone's like, you're so lucky, I'm like, it's not just luck, maybe, okay, dogs are different, right? Some breeds are more stubborn, like my puppy, he is a mix, but majority of his breed is Lhasa Apso, which are known to be super stubborn. And I was actually pretty freaking scared getting him, knowing that. And I definitely noticed that in him. He is super stubborn. So yeah, some breeds, all breeds are different. Some are more obedient by nature. Some are more intelligent, like generally speaking and whatnot. So there's a bit of luck, I guess, like depending on the breed and the personality, that you can't really change. However, it's not just luck. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of dedication. And I notice how some people who put out these videos of their, well-behaved dogs, they also get irritated sometimes because I see them responding back to these people being like, well, it's not just luck, it's a lot of hard work. So yeah, that does make me question sometimes, what do people really consider to be luck? There's the obvious luck, things that you really have no influence over that just happen to you, like where you were born, who your parents are, your health, like the health that you were born with, or, some things like that are just pure luck, right? Like you had no influence over those things. And some people seem to be just born incredibly lucky. They're born with all the things, or many of the things that pretty much everyone desires. We view like celebrity children that way, in a sense. I mean, because they're born into you, every opportunity that any human being could ever wish for, with drawbacks, right? I mean, it's not a perfect situation. Not everyone desires the life of a celebrity, but they do have like some of the possibilities and opportunities and comforts in life that some people will never get, and that some people it's the only thing that they could ever wish for in life, right? So that's luck. Or is it luck? Yeah, it's luck. So what is not luck purely then? Well, the thing that I just talked about, like teaching your dog to be obedient. That's not just luck. The only part that's luck is how your dog was to begin with, like their breed, their nature, because their breed does affect their very nature, and their personality. But everything else is dedication, hard work, studying, putting in the time, the effort, making the sacrifices, crying. I mean, I've cried a lot training my dog, because it's not an easy task always, okay? So if I spend like 100 hours teaching my dog something, and someone was like, oh my God, you're so lucky your dog does that, I would feel kind of not offended, but I would be like, I actually put a lot of effort into this thing. Okay, So that's how I started thinking about the whole thing of luck and what is luck and what does it mean and how do we define it, and most importantly, can we create our own luck? Is that a thing? And so I started reading about it a little bit. And I came across multiple articles and studies showing that, well, yes, you can actually create your own luck, generally speaking, because luck is not like this woo-woo thing. It's actually, well, the way that we define luck, actually, let's define luck for a second so we're all kind of on the same page. Okay, so luck means, by definition, success or failure apparently brought by chance rather than through one's own actions. Okay. Or chance considered as a force that causes good or bad things to happen. So about creating your own luck then. Well, wait, let me just tie that back to the dog situation. So per definition, the definition that I just read out, if a dog is obedient, it's not just luck, because it's not just something that happens. You know, your dog does not magically start listening to you. Anyway, let's drop the whole dog thing and continue. So how do we create our own luck? Well, I came across an article which is it's based on a study by Dr. Stefan Mockery at University College London, who did a research on this topic. And they said that lucky people have two things in common. First, they realized that an opportunity was presented to them. And two, they seize the opportunity and take action. And this is kind of my definition of luck. So what I consider lucky moments in my life is, of course, when, as per definition, something happens that I feel like I did not even really do anything for it to happen. Like the universe, the stars aligned, and the thing that I wanted to happen, or even better than that, happened, like out of nowhere. I did not put in the effort. I did not do anything to make this thing happen. It just happened, and it was something good. However, it's not entirely true, because when I think of the times that I've been lucky, I did actually also do something. So let's say you are outside and you find, okay, let's take like a super cliche example. You find like a $10 bill on the ground or something. Okay, that's like a silly example, but let's go with that. Let's take like a simple example. You're outside and you find a $10 bill on the ground and you're like, yes, now I can buy my favorite pizza and I'm very hungry. So that's pure luck for the most part. Because what are the odds that you came across that $10 bill? However, you also created that luck in a way by being outside in the first place. Do you know what I mean? So when I think back on times when, for example, I have met really cool people who had an influence on my life, like a pretty significant influence in a good way, it were times when, these people did not come knocking on my door. It was lucky that I met them, but I also did something by, for example, being at the right place at the right time, in the right place at the right time, by perhaps going somewhere that I did not initially want to go, or by actually, challenging myself to put myself out there, or by saying yes to an invite when I really wanted to say no and just stay home and not do anything that day. So in that sense, we also create our own luck. That was my initial kind of definition of creating your own luck, where it's like, yes, this thing happened to you out of all people, but you also did something for that thing to be able to happen to you. Like you actually went there, and that's why this thing could even happen to you in the first place. It makes perfect sense to me. I hope it's making sense to you as well. But let's continue reading on this article. So here are 5 ways to make sure that you maximize the potentially lucky breaks that might come your way. And let's start with the first one here in this article, where it says, be an opportunity magnet. Why is it that some people just seem to attract more opportunities than others? It's because they are open to new opportunities and they make sure everyone around them knows it. If, for example, you want to get an offer for a better job, what do you think is the best way to achieve that? Right. Tell everyone you know that you're looking for a new job. As word moves throughout your network of colleagues, friends, and relatives, chances are you will be presented with a number of opportunities. Okay, so this one is basically about putting yourself out there and being open to things happening to you as opposed to being closed off, right? So this one kind of hits home for me when I think of someone that I sort of knew in the past, who were pretty talented. They could have had, a lot going for them if only they would have been open to the opportunity of something or some of these good things actually happening to them, but they were not. So totally buying this one, where if you want something, you need to kind of be seeking for it, or at least being open to it. Okay, let's continue. Number 2, loosen up. When people are rigid and uptight in their business or their life, then only a relatively few things fit into their definition of what constitutes an opportunity. As a result, they let countless opportunities pass them by. If you find your outlook too narrow, then loosen up and allow some serendipity, which we'll talk about, to enter into your life. The best opportunities and the greatest sources of luck often arrive from unexpected places at unexpected times. Be open to possibilities rather than shutting them down. Ooh, I felt this one. So, okay. I can see myself in this one, and it's something that I've tried getting better at in like all areas of my life, where you have such a narrow idea of what something is supposed to be like and supposed to look like that you completely disregard everything else, and hence you may be missing out on great things that could be happening to you, that could be happening to your life, to your career, to your relationships. Like, for example, let's take relationships as an example, where maybe for some reason you have this idea where you think you know exactly what you're looking for. And maybe, in certain areas of relationship, certain aspects of it, we do know what we're looking for. And we should not disregard that. That's not what I'm saying. However, sometimes, and maybe oftentimes, we have a pretty tight, specific idea of what it is that we want. And God knows where we got that idea from. Maybe it's based on past experiences. Maybe it's based on ideas that have been brought upon us by family or friends, or maybe it's even the media, maybe it's the movies, who knows. But so because we have this idea of what we think we want and what we need and what we're looking for, other potential people that could add a lot of value to our lives and that may be people that could fulfill the needs and wants that we want to be fulfilled are not going to, it's not going to manifest in our lives. We're not going to even see those people because we're just so focused on this idea of what we think we need and what we want. So being more open-minded to the idea that things may look differently than what we have in mind, and that does not mean that they're going to be worse than what we have in mind. They might even be better than what we had imagined. But it's basically about being open-minded and having luck happen to us that way. Number 3, and my fellow introverts are going to love this one, be outgoing. If you want to be lucky, you can't be a wallflower. You've got to put yourself out there and talk to people, quite possibly in places and in ways that you might not normally be comfortable doing. If you're an introvert, hello, you will need to make an extra effort to be outgoing. Recognize your tendency to avoid socializing, or hold back in conversations, and then practice doing just the opposite. The more outgoing you are, the more opportunities and luck you will attract. Okay, so this is kind of a deep topic, given that I've talked about introversion so much. Okay, so in one sense, I get this. I get this in the way that, okay, we, as human beings, you can only get that far on your own. Like, you're always going to need other people in your journey towards whatever it is you're looking for, whatever it is, wherever it is that you want to go. You are going to have to go places and make phone calls and collaborate with people and maybe have a mentor and perhaps, my point is that to get anywhere, really, there is always going to be other people involved. Perhaps those people are going to be closely involved or they're going to be involved from afar, but we aren't like solo planets floating around in the universe. We work better. Let me word this correctly. Try and get my message across. My point is that, okay. My point is that with everything that we do in life, there's always going to be other people involved. So I'm totally on board when it comes to that. And the definition of being outgoing, I guess, can be interpreted differently by different people. So my idea of being outgoing is not necessarily being this super hyper, go-getter, loud, center of attention kind of person. Being outgoing to me is simply being able to ask for things that you want to ask for, being able to go to places that you need to go, being able to engage in situations that you need to or should be engaging in to get the place that you want to get. Okay, be flexible. All right. We all make plans in our lives. We want to achieve this particular goal by this particular date. We want to be living in this place by this date, etc. Plans are great, but luck doesn't necessarily care what your plans are. In fact, luck follows its own plan. So, when a new opportunity presents itself, you've got to be agile and ready to modify, change, or throw out altogether whatever plans you've made. The more flexible you are with your future possibilities, the more luck you will bring into your life. I love this. So I think growing up, I used to be someone who was very, I was like in Swedish we say fyrkantig, which is like square, like you're a square. How do I even explain that in English? Where you're very kind of narrow-minded, I guess, in a way, where you have this idea, this goal, this process in mind, and things need to go exactly like that. And I don't think that mindset benefits anyone. I think it's the opposite, where you miss out on a lot when you think like that. Being able to rethink and gain new perspectives and being okay and even excited about things going a bit differently than you had initially planned, I think is something that we can practice if we are not already like that, by simply doing things differently than we had initially imagined them and see what happens. And oftentimes good things can happen. I think like a basic exercise that some people, I've seen this like recommended in articles about this topic, where it's like, instead of taking your normal route home, try taking a different route, and you might see something cool or exciting along the way. And I think it's kind of that philosophy here, where you don't need to actively try and do something differently all the time, but if there is a chance or an opportunity to do something in a different way, or a different perspective is being presented to you, grab onto that if it sounds reasonable, and don't dismiss it automatically because it does not align with exactly how you had imagined it. So it totally makes sense to me that this would bring on more luck. Number 5, don't be afraid to fail. When opportunities arrive, we can't be afraid to act on them. Sure, there is always a possibility that we might fail, but we can't let the fear of failure rule our lives. If you focus on the opportunity and put everything you've got into it, chances are you will succeed. Even if you don't, simply pick yourself up and quickly move on to the next opportunity. The faster you fail and move on, the faster you will ultimately succeed. Of course, you might just succeed with your first opportunity. You would say you were lucky, but science might say otherwise. I like this. I've talked about failure, I think, quite a lot, and how we cannot let, fear of failure hold us back. I think it speaks for itself. I don't really have much to add here. I definitely think that the people who are more quote-unquote lucky are the people who take more risks and who are okay with things not going the way that they have wanted or planned. If you're letting fear hold you back, you're not going to try new things, you're not going to try things differently, you're just going to be continuing on the path that you have gone so far, and you're not even going to be open to opportunities, because even if an opportunity were to present itself to you, you would probably be too scared to take it. And so I think this is really important, not being afraid to fail. There have been a lot of things in my life that I have given a shot. I've tried, and I've gotten a lot of no's, and I don't have a single regret. I don't care. Would it have been great had I gotten a yes to certain things that I've tried? Of course. It would have probably been freaking awesome, but I'm going to try again and again, and I'm learning and I'm having fun, and, getting a no or something not going the way I planned is fine. It's not that serious, usually, unless you invested all the money that you have and now you have nothing left. Then maybe it's serious. But oftentimes, the things that we are so afraid of really aren't that serious, even if they don't go the way that we had initially wanted and planned for. So totally buying that. This article mentioned serendipity, which I want to briefly talk about. I think it's a good word to have in the back of your mind whenever you feel like you need to get a bit of a kick, a bit of a push to let opportunities come your way and create your own luck. So let's talk about what serendipity is for those who may not be very familiar, or even if you are familiar, just to make sure we are kind of on the same page. So this is a definition from a website, our study. Serendipity occurs when unexpected circumstances and an aha moment of insight result in a vulnerable, unanticipated outcome. Designing digital information environments to support serendipity can not only provide users with new knowledge, but also propel them in directions they might not otherwise have traveled in, surprising and delighting them along the way. As serendipity involves unexpected circumstances, it cannot be directly controlled, but it can be potentially influenced. So serendipity is basically when something unexpected happens. I think there is even a movie called Serendipity. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it. Yeah, Serendipity film, 2005. Ooh, it's gotten 7.8 on IMDb. That's pretty good. Which is supposedly all about serendipity. just, random events happening that, that is so-called serendipity. Let's see what this film is about. Okay, it's a very long description. I'm not going to read all of it. I'm not going to read the plot. But look into serendipity, and I think it's a good, like I said, word to have in the back of your mind. And it's basically about allowing things to happen to you through doing the things that we just talked about, like the 5 strategies or whatnot. All right, so let's give you, how long have you been recording for? Ooh, okay, time flies when you're having fun, guys. So yeah, I really just wanted to talk about this concept of luck and creating your own luck. And I'm going to try and put more effort into, I guess, realizing that, yes, some things we cannot influence, they just are the way they are. But some things we can influence, and we have more power than we often think we have. We're just not using it well. We're not using that power well. We are sometimes so convinced that, luck is something that some people just have, which is partly true, and that, good things simply don't just happen, and they don't just happen to us. But I don't think that's true at all. I think there's more that we can do than we often do, and it does not always require anything major. Like, let me give you an example. This was like a month ago. I was going to order food online, which I do sometimes. But then I was like, you know what? If I order food online, there is about 0 chance of serendipity happening. There is about 0 chance of anything exciting happening. So I was like, I'm gonna go to the grocery store instead. Because if I go to the grocery store, I'm going outside, I'm seeing things, I'm seeing people, I may come across something interesting, I may create a memory. At the very least, I'm going to see a cute dog that I can play with or something like that. So I went to the grocery store instead of ordering in. And then I walked back. And nothing exciting or like notably interesting happened that day. But it could have, right? Whereas if I had just ordered and, let the delivery guy just leave the groceries outside my door, not seeing anyone, not interacting with anyone, not being outside in the world, there's a very, very, very small chance that, strike of luck or serendipity would have occurred. Whereas if I were to go outside, get dressed, go to the grocery store, go through the grocery store and whatnot, and then walk back home, maybe something even slightly interesting would have happened. So I decided to do that. And I think it's about these small decisions that we make in our lives where it's like, am I opening up? Am I creating space for something to potentially happen? Are we doing that? And how much of that are we doing? Can we be doing more of that? All right, something to think about, something to chew on this Tuesday. Well, it's Monday for me because I'm recording on Monday, but it's Tuesday for you, or Wednesday, or I don't know, whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I felt like singing. And I will see you again next week, as always. All right, take care. Bye.